everyone, and thank you for joining us here on the Recruitment Roundup podcast, which is brought to you by BMS Performance. For those of you that are joining us for the first time, BMS Performance is a specialist sales and marketing recruitment consultancy. For the last 30 years, we've been helping businesses across the UK recruit for vacancies at every level. I'm your host, Mike Leather, and every week I'll be joined by a new guest where we'll get stuck into the latest trends in regards to recruitment. We'll talk about insights, we share ideas, we share experiences, and ultimately we look to provide value to fundamentally help you, whether or not you're a hiring manager, a business leader, or part of an internal talent team, to recruit smarter, faster, and more effectively. So welcome back everyone to another episode of the Recruitment Roundup podcast. This is the penultimate episode before we all break for Christmas. As always, I'm your host, Mike Leather.
Co-host Sam Musiarira.
How's it going, Sam?
All good, Mike. All good.
Yeah.
Not long to go now.
Not long to go. We're recording this on Tuesday the 17th. It's going to go out tomorrow on the 18th. So quite a few people, although not as many as usual. I've finished up in our business at BMS. It still feels like we've got a lot of the team in, and hopefully that's still the case for many of the businesses that we're calling. But we wanted to do an episode today on the subject of 3 tips that sales professionals might want to take on to hit the ground running in January. Sam, why did we think this one was a good episode to get out?
Yeah, Mike, it's a really, really good question. Obviously, as a sales professional, we're starting to get to that place now where, we're winding down, and a lot of our prospects are winding down, people switching off for holiday. But, there's nothing worse than coming into the year and having no pipeline to go at within any sales industry, regardless of what you're doing. So I think it's a really, really good sort of topic, because it's big for us in recruitment within our industry, just knowing what's going to be happening within the different clients that you're working with. So yeah, I think it was just a really, really good topic, just to make sure that regardless of the industry that you're in, you're coming into the year with a plan, because there's nothing worse, believe me, than getting started and having nowhere to start, shall we say.
It's coming in from a standing start, thinking
Yeah.
like, where's my pipeline?
Yeah.
Chasing your tail.
Yeah.
And I think this time of year can be really unique as well in respect of, and it depends what your mindset is going into it. Like we were talking about this yesterday, weren't we? Like mindset is absolutely key. But rightly or wrongly, there'll be a lot of sales professionals that will take the foot off the gas. This week, like it starts to feel a little bit quieter. Maybe you're in the office and not as many people are picking up the phone, and it all starts to feel like a balloon that's just deflating, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
And then we get into this mindset. It's gone now.
Yeah. Do you know what, Mike? I agree. It actually starts for me. It started like even on the trains on the way in, right? Because our office is in Manchester. For some of you guys that are listening that don't know, and it starts there. You get on the platform. There's like, you're so used to just the hustle and bustle and like loads of people, and then even that commute, you've got this, and it's almost like you can feed it, like everyone sort of take it easy. And within sales, we can't fall victim to that mindset, and you almost need to sort of put that to the side, and then work your way through, because I've been that person, coming in at the start of the year thinking, where do I start? What is my plan? And there's nothing worse than being in that kind of position, because the targets are still there. They probably might even be going up, right? Regardless of what industry that you're in, right? So it's, I even noticed it on the way to work.
I've been that person when I was a lot younger. Whereby I have took my foot off the gas. This time of year. And just settled for what's happened and thought, right, we're just counting down the days. But like you just said, then the best salespeople will be the ones that be thinking, right, growth mindset. It's getting a bit quieter. What can I do now that my future self in January is going to thank me for, and so that I'm going to be able to come in, hit the ground running. For a lot of people, next quarter is the final quarter. of the financial. If you're on a financial year, so April
Yeah.
to April, then next quarter's the one where you're
Yeah.
competing to be top performer.
Yeah.
You're looking to get to a high achievers club,
Yeah.
maybe your annual bonus or
Yeah.
something like that. So this is why this time of year now I think is just really, really important. There's
Yeah.
loads that you can do now, and we're
Yeah.
going to talk about our 3 top tips in a sec that can
Yeah.
make a real impact to like how you
Yeah.
start January and how
Yeah.
you get going.
Absolutely love it, Mike. Really excited to get stuck in. I've got an analogy to tell you. I just thought of this. It's probably going to be miles off, but it's quite funny. I'm a massive NFL fan, so every Sunday I watch the NFL Red Zone, and there's this thing that they call the final quarter because a lot of American sports are split into quarters, and this is the quarter that we're
Yeah.
about to go into, right? And they call the fourth quarter the witching hour, which is,
Right.
I know, right? So they call it the witching hour because it's where wins become losses and losses become wins, right?
Right.
Which
Okay.
is
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so when you're in sales and if you could be someone who's probably had this amazing year and you're on a win, right? And if you don't have this plan in
Yeah.
this witching hour, which is a final quarter, your win could become a loss. And then on the other end, you could be another salesperson who's probably been perhaps potentially been struggling, during the year, and but it's a fresh start, fresh quarter, fresh opportunity for you to be turning that loss into a massive win to finish the year off. So yeah, I just thought it'd be a great little
I love
nugget
that.
to share.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
love that.
let's
I think it's
let's
very
get it.
appropriate.
Absolutely. So let's get into wins then, Mike.
Yeah. So number one. Now I'm making a grand assumption that all sales professionals have got some method,
Yeah.
tech, piece of paper, fag packet, whatever it is, that we are listing our
Yeah.
pipeline for January.
Yeah.
If we're not, then that's an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, go and speak to your manager.
Yeah.
There's an issue there.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we're doing, which I think's
Yeah.
really helpful at BMS to use a specific example,
Yeah.
is we've got a January pipeline tracker.
We do.
And on that, to give people context, we've got the company,
Hmm.
we've got what their need requirement might be. So
Yeah.
for us, it's vacancies, but for
Yeah.
anyone else, it could be, a type of contract that we've pitched or
Yeah.
service or whatever it is.
Yeah.
We've got our decision maker on
Yeah.
that. We've got the reason
Yeah.
that this particular piece of business can't happen in December.
Yeah.
And that's really important, and we can maybe talk around that.
Hmm.
And then what we also got there is a meeting booked or
Yeah.
is a placeholder call in the
Call card.
diary
Yeah.
so that everyone, and this is visible to the whole team as well, so it's a
Yeah.
shared document, so it creates
Yeah.
a good sense of healthy competition. So sales leaders that are listening to this could be a good thing for yourself as well to really drive some energy in what can be, as we said, a little bit of
Yeah.
a laissez-faire week. So everyone's got clear visibility of what the
Mhm.
pipeline is, and it's on a shared Excel spreadsheet, so everyone can go into it. And first tip for this is whether or not you've got something like that we've got at BMS, or you've got another method of tracking pipeline. Use this week to go back through it and re-qualify it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, why is that important, Sam? Just for the
Yeah.
listeners.
Yeah. And again, Mike, that's a really good point because there's nothing worse than, having lots of pipeline, just like we've touched on, and then you've booked a meeting, become really excited, or you're working towards something, things change. So,
Mm,
with this being the final week ahead of, pretty much the new year within most sectors, it's pivotal, to make
yeah,
sure that this information is qualified to the highest level. Your future you will be thanking you, for making sure that this meeting is still going ahead. Why is it still going ahead? Who are we meeting? Are the plans still the same? So yeah, that's why it's so important to make sure that we've
so
got that up to date.
to play devil's advocate, so
Yeah.
there could be salespeople out there that listen to this and think, well, I only spoke to
Yeah.
Bob, Mr. CEO or CRO, at the beginning of last week.
Yeah.
Is he not going to find it a little
No.
bit odd that I'm ringing him again about the same thing? What advice would you give to someone who has that thought process?
Yeah. So advice number one is growth mindset, firstly. in sales, things change and move at a really, really fast pace. And if you flip it on the other end, and if you are Bob, you would be like, well, tell you what, that Sam from BMS or that Mike from BMS, he's a good salesperson, isn't he? Like, he's making sure that he's calling me and he's catching up and he's making sure that this meeting's still going ahead. It's re-qualified, and it shows and it puts it front and center of my mind, because if I'm Bob, I'm being prospected. I've got loads of different things that are looking to come and take up my time. And it's almost like, if that's forgotten about in the new year, that's a complete miss. So the very first thing is growth mindset. Have a growth mindset around it. Like, within, I just want to make sure that this is still front and center of your mind. Just want to make sure that we're all good to go ahead. Has anything changed? Use that as a requalification. We need to be doing it. We absolutely need to be doing it, because you'd rather have that than not. You'd rather do that than not. So my advice is to, you've absolutely got to qualify that pipeline and re-qualify it until pretty much, the day that you sign off and put your out of office on, just to make sure that we're all good. And
you leave then for Christmas and you feel so much more confident that what you've got in there is great, because how many salespeople badly qualify meetings? Or someone just says, meet with us in January, a little bit busy now, can't do anything this side of Christmas. I'm like, really excited because we rejected all day and we booked a meeting in and we pop that onto a tracker, whatever it is that we're doing. It's not really qualified. So you leave for Christmas thinking, oh, look at my big list. I've got 10 companies there. And then you come back in and you find that 8 of the meetings just cancel because they were never qualified. So this is a good opportunity for people to look at it and think, right, how well did I qualify it? Re-qualify. So tip number 1, re-qualify your pipeline before you finish this week. What's number 2?
So ultimately, we've got to utilize this time to ultimately continue to top up our funnel. We need to use this time to make sure that we are, on top of lead gen, on top of companies that we're prospecting, and on top of making sure that the companies that we're working with all fit in within the criteria that we have as an ICP. So that would be using this time to make sure that we are doing that and continuing to do that ahead of the new year.
Again, like talking about the last point was qualifying the meetings we've already got in the pipeline. This is about adding as much as we can into the top of that funnel, because it will go a little bit quiet on Thursday and Friday, and if you're working next week, Monday and Christmas Eve, it just will. So you've got a unique opportunity where you've not got someone on your back driving you for activity, that you can really double down on top of funnel activity. But to know how much you need to put in there, you've got to know what your conversion rates are. So if I'm you and I'm finding for every 10 leads I find, I convert 1, and I know my target for January is X, and I've already got these meetings in, then I can do the maths and work out, right, so for me to do 150% of my target, I probably need to find X amount more leads into the top of the funnel. Is it a good time as well to be reviewing data, looking at my ICP? Is that still the ICP? Do we need to look at something different? Spend the time on market intel work? All this adds to the top of your funnel.
Absolutely. It's a really, really good point.
So point 2, add to the top of your funnel. What's point 3?
Oh, love point 3. So point 3, we are reviewing and we're looking at what's worked from a sales point of view, and ultimately what hasn't, and where we can make improvements. So within that, I think regardless of your sales industry that you're in, you probably follow a cadence. A cadence for people that are listening for the first time is, a step-by-step routine in terms of prospecting and looking to get in touch with someone. So we, could probably.
Do you want to just explain what a cadence is, Sam? Sorry to interrupt you, for people that might be unaware of what that is.
Yeah. So a cadence is a step-by-step process of looking to prospect someone. Really, it's a guide. It's a trying to think of any other word to kind of use. It's a method or a step-by-step guide when you're looking to, prospect and convert and build a relationship with a client.
What would a typical just example cadence look like, just so people can
Yeah.
picture it?
Yeah, and
Off
ultimately,
the top of your head.
ultimately, it'll depend on the industry that you are in. Obviously, if something shorter or long term, but you know, we tend to separate cadence by days. So, example could be one which is a 10-day cadence.
Yeah.
Initially, within that, I tend to prefer cadences that lead with a call as opposed to cadences that lead with an email or LinkedIn or
Some may
because
well call you old school.
yeah, exactly. Some will, and
Stuck
they
in
will
the
be right.
90s making
They
phone calls.
yeah, they will be right. I actually had a conversation with sales leader, literally was it Friday, and we spoke about what are the things that they look for when partnering up with new recruitment agencies, and they said, believe it or not, Sam, there's calls like this. So hey,
There you
you know,
go.
call me old school. I'm going to
There
be
you
picking up the
go.
phone all day, right? So, yeah, an initial cadence could be, a telephone call, obviously day one, and then we could have another call two. If that doesn't work, we then follow that up with a personalized email introduction. Switch that up with a different form of outreach. So perhaps LinkedIn as well to couple that up and plump that out. And then on top of that, we could then go back to another call and then follow up with another email. So that's for day 6, day 7.
Yeah.
And then we could look to switch that up because if we're not getting anything back, what other form of outreach could we use? What tech stack do you have available to us? So if you're a salesperson who's got the ability to use other forms of outreach, such as WhatsApp, or even things that are above that, video,
Yeah.
would be, throwing in a personalized video as part of that cadence as well. That's step 8. And then we could, get in another email and then send a breakup email at the end. So that would be an example of a sort of 10-step, 10-day type of cadence
There
to
we
look
go.
to. But
People have
that's
got a free cadence out of you.
there we go. There we go. But yeah, yeah. So that's in terms of step 3, it's ultimately reviewing what are the things that have been working well from us and where can we be making improvements, right? And we're talking about improvements. If we've got a year and we're just using a year as an example of data, or equally, if you want to split this into a quarter or 2-month way of you've decided to use a sales cadence over the past quarter and you want to compare how that sales cadence compared with the quarter before
Yeah.
versus the quarter before, we could be like, tell you what, where did we get a nudge back? When did we start speaking to our prospects? At what step of the process did that happen? And could we then use that to bring that into January and, think ahead, right? So, these are some of the examples that I think could work really well with step 3. I don't know, Mike, what do you think on any of the other
Yeah,
bits that
I
we're
think
touching on
that
there?
it's something that I'm definitely going to be doing
Yeah,
myself.
yeah,
Looking at the BD approach, what is working, where we're getting most bang for our buck, so to
yeah,
speak. But further to that, because I think every salesperson should take this time of year to reflect on what's gone well, what hasn't,
yeah,
and where they've improved, and what is working and what isn't. Taking a overall view of it. Not just, for example, it's been hard to get a hold of people in December, so I'm going to stop picking up the phone. That'd be a bad thing to do. But I also think, within this, it's the same subject, but
yeah,
if we are sending emails,
yeah,
looking at the email templates that we're sending,
yeah,
what are getting the most response, what isn't,
yeah,
how can we tweak that, how can we improve it? I think there's other things that you can do to help yourself as well. Hit the ground running in January. If you think
yeah,
about like your sales collateral,
yeah.
so how good are your proposals that you've sent?
Hmm.
Can you improve them further? Because it's marginal gains, isn't it? Maybe we've had
Yeah,
a decent 9 months, but we really want to smash it in January,
yeah,
and we can look really specifically
hmm,
at all of the communication that we're getting out from a sales
yeah,
collateral standpoint. It could be proposals, it could be slide decks that we're using
yeah,
in meetings, it could be pre-meeting prep and any collateral that goes after that, follow-ups, like take the opportunity to improve that, even create templates if you
yeah,
feel like maybe you've lost some time because you're always going back through and writing emails from scratch. Maybe you could spend some time writing specific email
hmm,
templates. there anything else that you could think of from a sales approach standpoint that
Yeah, no,
some
I
could include in top three?
absolutely love that, Mike. Because we're touching on creating email templates. I suppose what we're doing there is ultimately personalizing our approach or personalizing our outreach. So it probably gives us a lovely little segue in terms of perhaps ideas that we could use to personalize our outreach for January specifically. And I'm thinking of like, you know, perhaps creating unique different messages to address people's pain points. So if we think about sort of industry, trends or events, if you work within, I suppose, logistics and supply chain, January is going to have its challenges naturally, right? So creating outreach methods and messages to be able to address that. Annual planning, also perhaps even including messages that have I'm a massive advocate of things that are quite visual, so a touch of, seasonality and that kind of thing of, using the holidays as a time to perhaps look at new year, new goals, using that as a different kind of method, as a message compared to some of the messages that you've been sending throughout the year, because it's usually at the start of the year that people tend to review things that have either been going really well or really bad, or have create new plans. So making sure that your outreach is going in line with that, and acknowledging the new, acknowledging the time to reflect, acknowledging the challenges, and then making sure that that timing goes in with what we're at. So I think they're all, really good points to add on to what you said.
Cool. Now, these three tips are also are always, outside of the
Yeah,
minimum expectation that people should have, and the
yeah,
mindset, which is, we want to get results this week,
absolutely, absolutely.
100%. But
Yeah,
these are the things that we can do that we think that will help
yeah,
people get ahead of the game
yeah,
coming Jan. So we've got requalifying your pipeline, topping up your funnel, and then reviewing what's worked from a sales approach
yeah,
and improve that further.
yeah.
You do all them things, you're going to come into January feeling like you're ready to
Exactly.
go.
Exactly. There's nothing worse than, feeling that anxiety a day or 2 days before work, thinking, oh God, I'm coming back into work and I've got no pipeline. So you don't want to be that person. You want to, listen to the tips that we've shared and make sure that you are excited, chomping at the bit. We are ready. We're ready to go. We've got a meeting 10 a.m. on the first day after the new year. How exciting would that be? Right, we've got
That'll be it.
another meeting at 11, another one or two. They've got this, that. Then you're really attacking the year ahead. So, yeah, absolutely, absolutely love these points, Mike.
Cool. So is your sales tip of the week, but as we've given so many tips out, have you got anything left to share?
Oh, it's a great point. Have I got anything left to share? Look, I think you and I, Mike, we're very big in terms of investing in professional development and making sure that that is always front and center of your mind, right? And use this holiday time to do that. Use this holiday time to, perhaps, read a different book on, on sales, or find a different podcast, or, find out some, spend some time viewing, webinars that have happened during the year that you perhaps didn't have the time. Maybe try and learn a new skill, maybe work on a different introduction or an opener, start practicing pitching things to family members. I know it's a bit extreme, but like that's what it's going to take. If you are going to be the best of the best
You'll be
within the industry
top
that you're
performer,
in,
yeah.
if you want to be top performer, you're going to have to be that bit different, and you're going to have to be always thinking with that growth mindset, what more could I do, how else can I get better, because it's all these 2% gains here and there. That's what really separates the best from the best. So I think those are, it's a really good tip to share.
100%.
Yeah,
100%. I think that's brilliant. It's a great way to finish off. So thank you for everyone that's listened. We wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we'll be back with another episode in January 2025.
cheers, bye for now, guys.
Well, that wraps up another episode of the Recruitment Roundup podcast. Thank you very much for listening to the show, to watching the show. We really appreciate your support. It would be absolutely fantastic if you could give us a rating on Apple, on Spotify, give us a review. Any feedback really helps and is massively appreciated. So thank you once again for joining us, and we will hopefully see you again next week.